Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the RazörForce Offensive. We are fake news because Tactical Hobo's not here. He's pulling a double a day, so he may hop on a little later. But until then, Taryn and I will be monitoring the situation. I am, of course, Razorfist alongside the Titanic Taryn Gell. Say hello.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome.
Yeah. I don't know why StreamYard does that. They put me automatically on mute, even when I put my whatever. I don't know. That's odd. They didn't automatically put you on mute. But yeah, to open the show, I guess there's nothing else to say other than, ladies, gentlemen, there are officially no celebrities left to die. Everyone died this week. Absolutely. Just name a celebrity. They're dead, bro. What was the first one to hit you?
Ozzy was the big one.
Yeah.
And then it was Julian Lefay.
Which Ozzy, I mean, the man's blood was 80% amphetamines. No wonder it took him so long to diagnose the dude with Parkinson's. His hands probably haven't been still in 6.5 decades, right? So his death wasn't so surprising. But still, like within 2 weeks or whatever of that last Sabbath show, bro. What a storybook ending for him, though. I mean, did you see any of that final Sabbath, final Ozzy show thing? I mean, it got 5 million concurrent viewers and then like 20 million over the course of the next day. So like pretty much everyone watched it.
I watched clips.
So good. My favorite part, I don't know if you guys saw, they brought Jake E. Lee back. Bark at the Moon guy, Ultimate Sin guy, a guitarist who hasn't been on stage with Ozzy in like 38 years or something. He got to jam with this kind of super group or whatever, but we got to hear the Ultimate Sin and all these great Jake E. Lee era songs. It was just like, and apparently Ozzy insisted on it because Jake E. Lee got shot. I don't know how many people are aware. He was walking his dog one day, got shot by somebody. Like barely, it wasn't a horrible, life-threatening thing, but he spent some time in the hospital, and apparently Ozzy reached out and all that stuff. So it kind of reconciled. So I'm glad. But man, who else is gonna die, for crying out loud? The next one, of course, was Julian Lefay.
Yes.
How did that one hit you? I mean, that was again weird timing. A week after he steps back from development of the Wayward Realms, he's gone. What in the world?
I know. It's just insane. Role-playing games don't exist without that man. And I mean
sandbox games don't exist without that man.
Yeah.
Straight up. I've repeatedly said on social media, like, this guy, no Witcher without Julian Lefay. For those who don't know, he is the father of Elder Scrolls. In fact, could you bring up the Bethesda tweet? I actually thought Todd Howard handled this really, really well. He made a tweet on the official Bethesda account. Did I link that to you, or do I need to bring that up myself?
James Woods, Must Watch, Tulsi Gabbard. No, you didn't send me that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and bring that up myself. Bethesda, I thought, handled this in pretty classy fashion. Share screen. There we go. Right here. All right. Let me zoom in. Bethesda Game Studios. It is with great sadness we learn of the passing of Julian Lefay. He was the driving force in the creation of the Elder Scrolls and the foundations of Bethesda as a game studio. Simply put, without Julian, we would not be here today. Sorry, I lost my place. If you had the opportunity to work with Julian, you were blessed to know a one-of-a-kind force of nature who pushed everyone, to create something special. His work and spirit, will live on both in our memories and in our games. And that, of course, came straight from Todd Howard. Man, what were our first experiences with Julian Lefay projects? I mean, Daggerfall for me. What about you?
No, it would be also Daggerfall.
He did have a little bit of input into Morrowind, right? A little bit of it, but of course that was the moment where he moseyed along. Saw a lot of people who were like, did he have anything to do with Fallout 76? Is he to blame for all that? No, this guy is the father of Elder Scrolls. He's the reason you wound up with a sandbox game of any kind, really. He's the formula of the Bethesda game. that sadly has been kind of, polluted at this point. That really comes from Julian Lefay. In fact, I actually have an article here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I actually have an IGN article. They actually covered it, believe it or not. Julian Lefay, Bethesda's former chief engineer, known among fans as the father of the Elder Scrolls series, has died aged 59. It was announced last week that Lefay, now co-founder and technical producer at Once Lost Games, had stepped back from game development after a lengthy battle with cancer in order to spend time with his family and loved ones. We should have known when he mentioned, I'm taking this time off to spend time with family, that it probably wasn't good. Had you seen any of his appearances relatively recently? They'd been more sparse lately.
No, the only things I've seen have been related to Once Lost's new game.
I watched,
Wayward
yes.
Realms.
They did a stream, I want to say it was several months ago, something like that. And he was on it. And I remember being struck by how he looked and sounded. Like, he didn't seem well. I didn't think he was dying of cancer, though. His speech was more slurred. So, like, if you know anything about Julian Lefay, he's Danish. Not that we should hold that against him. But no, he's Danish. He kind of has an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of quality to his voice a little bit. And it was more like slurred and stuff and a little slower. And I was just like, something's not right with him. I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. And of course, for a while now, he's kind of stepped back from the Wayward Realms thing. So the rumors had kind of been swirling, but man, to finally have him pass away, this is a guy, entire genres. Guys, how many copies has GTA 5 sold? Over 100 million, right? I know it's among the best-selling games, if not the best-selling game. Guys, that's a sandbox game. This guy invented the sandbox game. Without this guy, there's no GTA. There's no Red Dead. There's no Elden Ring. There's no Witcher. There's no Cyberpunk, and on and on and on and on. And of course, there's no Elder Scrolls. He is, of course, immortalized, though, in the games as the in-game god, Julianos. Yes. So from the RazörForce to you, and of course, the next time you play Elder Scrolls, I highly encourage you to pray at the shrine of Julianos. I say we all do it synchronized. Maybe we'll do it on tomorrow night's stream or something, but let us all pray and hail to Mr. Julianos. Godspeed into the wild blue yonder, because that is just what an incredible career. And he kind of had a little bit of a, I don't know, conduct disorder. He was hard to work with by his own admission. So that's kind of why he's not as celebrated as some other, because let's think about game developers. There are some game developers like, say, Kojima or something, who didn't invent anything. Like, he didn't invent the stealth genre. He kind of popularized it a little bit, but, they're super celebrated nevertheless because they have games that have sold a lot of copies, blah, blah, blah. And because they put themselves out there. Julian Lefay created an entire genre, but very few people know who he is. In fact, way more know who Todd Howard is. When was the first time you even heard his name? Speaking of which, Tarrant.
Julian Lefay?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was around the time I started playing Morrowind.
Right.
I started hearing about the people who made that game and the games that came before, because I played Morrowind, and got interested in the games that had come before.
Jeez. What a titanic career, though. Like, even in that short span, he never quite got to that point where he was like one of these big famous developers who has tons of money, which frankly he deserved. Because as Todd said in that statement, without him, Bethesda doesn't exist. And Bethesda has sold millions upon millions upon millions of copies of video games. But of course, we lost someone else, didn't we, Taryn? And that was today. These things come in threes. Shoot, even before that, Malcolm Jamal Warner. What happened there?
Yeah, I actually just heard about that. I didn't even realize what happened.
Apparently he got caught in a riptide or something and drowned down in Costa Rica. Insanity. For those who don't know, the oldest son from the Cosby Show, always seemed cool on social media, kind of a family guy, seemed really, really chill. And what a tragic loss. Dies kind of young. Oh man. But somebody else died today. And who was that, Tara?
The Hulkster. Hulk Hogan.
Man, this one, I wrote a little bit of a eulogy on social media. This one hits really hard. How are you like dealing with it? Like, could you even wrap your brain around it?
That was
this is hero. Like Warrior to me. When Warrior went away,
like I was a little kid when I first started watching wrestling, and just like that was my hero. That was my first hero. Now, when I say first hero, I mean like I didn't read comics when I was a little kid. I didn't do that. I mean, I watched cartoons here and there, but the first person I respected and looked up to was Hulk Hogan.
Right? Dude, me too. Me too. I once Ultimate Warrior came on the scene, I was way more of an Ultimate Warrior fan, as I've said. But I didn't turn my back on the Hulkster, man. I never did. And can we just say at this point, there's been so many comparisons. Oh, John Cena is bigger than Hogan. Oh, Rock is bigger than Hogan because look at his Hollywood career. This guy's bigger than... No one who has ever been in wrestling is bigger than Hulk Hogan. No one. Absolutely no one. He was in a Rocky film. You ask someone to name a professional wrestler, they're not going to say... Some of them might name The Rock. Almost all of them will name Hulk Hogan. He is singularly identified with pro wrestling. Would you agree on that? Or
absolutely.
I mean,
a lot came close. Rock came very close.
I agree. I don't mean to take anything away from Rock because he has worked very, very hard and he's very, very famous. And his movie career definitely has been bigger. I would argue, though, there was a period where Hulk Hogan, he could have, if he had devoted himself completely to his Hollywood career, he could have been as big or bigger than The Rock was. But he decided not to because he didn't want to lose his spot in wrestling. Yeah. He kept kind of flirting with it. He would make 1 or 2 movies, he'd come back. He'd make 1 or 2 movies, he'd come back. And that's because he loved wrestling. That's the simple fact. And he didn't want to lose his spot. He always had one eyeball on wrestling. Rock stepped away completely, and that's why he got to be so big. There's kind of an alternate reality where Hogan becomes the first big wrestling star. He arguably is anyways, because again, he was in a Rocky film. He's been in some decent stuff. Dude, what is your favorite Hulk Hogan movie, by the way?
Well, real quick aside.
Oh, what?
Think about it this way. The Rock is bigger, but as an actor,
yeah,
Hulk Hogan is the top of wrestling.
Yeah. I would say the only person who even comes close to Hogan is Austin in his prime. And Austin, and Austin got cut short because of his health stuff, right? So it's hard to say. Hogan was just always there. He was wrestling like I remember him wrestling in TNA like 2011 or something. Like he was still going. His spine was fused and he was still wrestling. Like what?
Teenagers and people in their early 20s
know
The Rock as an actor for his movies. Some of them don't. It's kind of funny. Some of them don't even remember that he's a wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. For me, my favorite Hogan movie is that piece of shit we watched, The Ultimate Weapon, where he's wearing the toupee.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically Hulk Hogan does Commando. Arnold Schwarzenegger Commando. It's so terrible and so good. And it's part of a series, I seem to remember. There was like a trilogy or something of these. Because, you couldn't contain that brilliantine story in just one film, right? You had to break that bitch up over several films, of course. But, man, I don't even know how to process Hogan being gone. Yes! Hulkster! God, his promos were so deliciously demented, just like Warrior. People in that Warrior shot job, what was it, Self-Destruction of Ultimate Warrior? They went off for like 20 minutes about how terrible his promos are. You couldn't understand them. They didn't make any sense. Yeah, the Hulkster's promos didn't make any sense, but they were glorious in that sense. I wouldn't have them any other way, would you?
No. I loved Warrior's promos.
I know. Hulkster too. The freaking take your vitamins, drink your milk, the whole 9 yards. Somebody help, by the way. I took Hulk Hogan's vitamins and all it gave me is back hair like a Brillo pad, chest acne, and an inexplicable urge to slay my family followed by myself. I think I'm reading the instructions wrong, though. What do you think?
I was a Flintstones vitamins guy.
Were you? Didn't they? Am I crazy? Am I hallucinating? Or didn't they at one point literally have Hulk Hogan vitamins?
They must have.
Am I nuts? Or did I just hallucinate all that or whatever? When you're a kid, you think things happen like Bernstein Bears, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right? maybe they were suppositories.
Yeah. Maybe the Hadron Collider at CERN kind of memory hold those out of existence or something. But yeah, I'd also like to take a moment to congratulate the 7 soy boys that make up the pitifully small modern WWE audience for deciding to make your final interaction with Hulk Hogan on this earth booing him over a beer commercial. You graphic tee, titty hiding, soy bearded, double chin camouflaging faggots deserve the industry you're stuck with. If you soy boy sea creatures get your way in another 20 years, wrestling will be spoken of in the past tense. And frankly, for the most of us, it already is. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. But they were not the only ones shitting on Hogan. They were not everybody was celebrating his storied life. Did I send you that tweet from that cringe lord? That former Gawker person. If not, I'll bring it up.
It's no, I don't. No, you didn't. I don't think so.
Well, here you go. I'm gonna go ahead and.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Where's my tab?
For the woman on the go.
Oh, here it is.
Yup. Let me bring that up for you. My goodness. This was, you understand there's got to be some hard feelings at this point, but let's zoom in on that bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Let's zoom in on that. Bitch is right. There we go. Why don't you read that out in your best femlord voice? Me.
So, Hulk Hogan died. As a former Gawker writer, as are all Gawker writers.
Can we pause and just stew in former? Anyways, continue.
I won't be the first or the last to say, fuck that guy. Dance on any grave you want to, but this one's mine.
Oh, God. For those who forgot, I did 2 videos on the subject, I believe. Hulk Hogan is the reason Gawker is a goner. God, Gawker was so awful. You remember Gawker during Gamergate, how awful they were? And, oh, God, they were awful. And Hulk Hogan single-handedly is the reason that went away. More importantly, he kind of struck a blow for privacy rights, right? Like, let's be real. In an age of glorified game rentals on Steam, in an age of drive-by jag-off journos, printing any old lie out of their hapless head hole, in an age of 24/7 surveillance that correctly predicts the precise shape and curvature of that evening's shit, Hogan struck a serious blow for privacy rights in 2016, and like almost no one is addressing it right now, which is why I am, assholes. Thank you, Hulkster. Now go to your well-earned reward. That was important because you remember that was over that sex tape thing, right?
Yeah.
That, which was just despicable, dude. And they stood behind that. What is the reply? Someone's saying the reply below is the best. It's a testament to the man's greatness that even in death, he could sling one more emotional spear into the heart of a soulless dyke haircut, ball-busting shrew with cunt eyebrows, whose primary legacy was peddling muckrake blog slop for a publication that should never have been. Oh, Jesus. I said it several years ago. Like, you might be indifferent to wrestling. You might, think Hulk Hogan was self-aggrandizing with the Christianity stuff, but momentarily put aside his peccadillos and defects of character and replace him with yourself. Like, if a website existed that openly endorsed your being illegally filmed in the nude and then hosted said video and then fought you in court on the basis they were championing the First Amendment, like, you'd want to drop a leg on their duplicitous asses too. That was a blow he struck for all of us. honestly. That was a big deal. And one of the few kind of wins for privacy in the last several years. He deserves his plaudits on that one.
Wasn't that the first
Hogan.
domino to bring down that entire... I forget what the whole conglomerate is called, but it was Gawker.
It was the Gawker group.
Yeah, Kotaku.
Kotaku was part of it. I think they wound up getting sold to somebody else, though, right?
Oh, Jezebel, remember them?
Yes, Jezebel. They were all part of that network. And of course,
Yeah.
Peter Thiel, I believe, funded Hulk Hogan's lawsuit. He saw an opportunity to kill Gawker. Hey, whatever, I'll take it. I don't give a shit.
God bless them.
Because they outed him as a homo, I believe, right? That's what happened. Yeah, there we go. The Duke of 5A, Peter Thiel, funded that lawsuit because Gawker outed him. That was a wild team up. It was. One last tag team, Hulkster. My goodness. But there's just nobody left to kill. They're all dead. What is going on this week? It's tough. Mortality very much out of the rearview mirror and into the front of the car at this point, I think.
And we also lost Chuck Mangione.
Yeah. There are people dying right now that are going largely unremarked because of that. And Chuck Mangione was pretty huge back in the day. Like, that's actually a pretty big celebrity death that a lot of people don't realize, beyond the King of the Hill tie-in, which is why we love him to death. But speaking of death, there was a man who was left for dead not so long ago. You want to dig up that Mike Lindell thing? Oh, there you go. Right there. Right there.
Probably.
Mike Lindell has proved victorious in his election fraud lawsuit.
Indeed.
Well, my. Go ahead and start reading some of that if you don't mind.
And
or I can. I don't.
No, I can do it. An appeals court has determined that an arbitration panel was not allowed to change the rules of a contest after the fact in a ruling that voids a $5 million claim that Trump-supporting My Pillow guy Mike Lindell was supposed to have to pay.
Yep.
The ruling comes from the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals and voided a contest.
Judge appointments matter. This is your daily reminder. Trump's judicial appointments very much matter. You can spurg about this thing or that thing that you're disappointed with Trump with. Every single day he's in office, some other conservative justice is being appointed. That is a big, big deal. But anyways, continue.
Voided a contest win by Robert Zeidman, a software developer.
Yep.
Let's see. Continuing here. A report at Just the News explained Lindell had offered a prize of $5 million to anyone who could prove the data regarding Chinese election interference in the 2020 presidential race was unequivocally not related to the 2020 election.
Yep. So many fair weather fuckwits in the black-pilled right walk sideways away from this man. You know, mocking. I've seen him credited with that Kraken comment. You remember that? That was Lynn Wood. That was not him. But mocking him for basically a Kraken comment that he never actually made. Not a one of them saying a mumbling word now, you notice. Note their names, RazörForce. Note their names. I feel so bad for this guy. He got like singled out. He lost a bunch of money. He's probably still in recovery mode a little bit. Once that happened, I don't know about you, but I went out and bought 2 My Pillows. I had no intention of having My Pillows. Me and James Sunderland, actually. No.
I sleep on one every night.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, his comforters are actually pretty good, too.
Hmm.
Although, I do love that Nick DiPaolo bit about Mike Lindell. You ever see that?
No.
Like, what is this guy's advertising budget? He's on every single night at 2 a.m. for like a solid 8-hour block. Jesus. Anyways, all right, let's see here. Marussia Dark 316, love your vids on Lincoln and McCarthy. Would like to see you go on Tim Pool's show and school him how the former was a tyrant. Yeah, he simped for Lincoln this week, from what I understand. Godspeed, Ozzy and Hogan. Godspeed to them, indeed. I was invited on Tim Pool, I think, a long while ago. It was the girl who was doing the bookings at the time. It wasn't him, because he and I have had words in the past that were not pleasant. But I was invited, and I, in so many words, told him to shit in his beanie. Carl Crump 6634. Ever watched the Jesse Ventura interviews about him going to court against McMahon over royalties? Apparently, it came up that Hulk Hogan outed Ventura to McMahon when he tried to unionize the wrestlers. He did. And, you know, while I think it's kind of scummy that he went behind Jesse Ventura's back in a way, Hulk Hogan was completely right. Jesse Ventura was a retard. Like, unionizing the wrestlers is about the only way the promoters could screw them any harder than they already have. Go look at other unionized industries right now. Is everybody just jumping for joy, holding hands and singing Kumbaya? No, like, without exception, uniformly, it makes the industry worse. Right now, they're 1099s. They don't get health insurance. They don't get, you know, mandatory days off. They don't have a mandatory work week, yada, yada, yada. And there is something to be said for the fact that they have kind of no compete a little bit here and there, but that's because of the way contracts work right now. And they do have the right to refuse contracts because they're independent contractors, right? There's no time you clock in, right? So there is some hypocrisy to it, but I actually think Hulk Hogan was in the right on that one personally. He's not perfect, though. He is not perfect. He's done a lot of douchey things. I mean, there's a reason he got baptized, folks. He told all kinds of lies. You remember the Metallica thing?
Not specifically.
He told all kinds of tales. He claimed he was a member of Metallica for a minute, or he auditioned for Metallica or something like that. And God bless Metallica. They clearly like Hulk Hogan. They didn't want to shit on him, but he was clearly lying. So they kind of like respectfully were like, yeah, not so much. I think maybe Hulk Hogan was just a little bit confused, and right. They were really polite about it. They could have absolutely thrown him under the bus, but Hulk Hogan totally bullshit about that one. I mean, the guy's a worker, right? Professional wrestlers do nothing but lie for a living. But, you know, that's all of us are saved by grace through faith. All of us have to take all of our sins into the baptismal pool. And I hope that he did. So kudos before we move on to Mike Lindell. Actually, hold on. Ashley Commies reacting to the Hogan news is why you don't ease up on them. Give them the Jim Jones cocktail. Sit back and relax. They give themselves the Jim Jones cocktail as it happens. The Dirty Straw. Did I love Transformers 2008? I think you mean 2007. And I don't. I hate that movie. I hate the whole Transformers franchise, not the cartoons. The cartoons are fine, and the comics and stuff, but the movies I thought were pieces of shit. Didn't you watch some of those?
What, the live action Michael Bay movies? I mean, yeah, I thought
I don't hate every Michael Bay movie. I just don't like those. I really don't like those.
I mean, I can put it this way: I watched them once.
Did you?
Yeah, things blew up.
Yep. Do you have the? Speaking of things blowing up, do you have the Candace story?
Candace.
Because guys, I mean,
about Macron, yeah, that's already up.
Okay, let me see. There we go. So I actually need a little bit of preamble to this. I know she had done like a documentary series and shit about how Brigitte Macron has a dangling dick, which I think is hilarious, but you can't be committing that to a documentary and then standing behind it if it's a bunch of bullshit. I tell jokes about how big Mike Obama is a dude, but I don't think he's actually a dude. Like, what the hell?
I don't think he's a dude.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead and read that real quick for us. Because
I don't know much about it either. I was under the impression that she had heard this and then ran with it.
She heard it from... Yeah, she's not the first person to say. She is definitely the first person to immortalize it in a multi-part documentary series
and double down on it
and make money on it and double and triple down on it, which is why she's probably going to lose this defamation case. Like, I'm just point blank, guys. She's probably not winning this.
French President Macron and wife, allegedly,
allegedly
file defamation suit against commentator Candace Owens.
Yep.
They claim that it is defamatory and far-fetched fiction.
Yep.
French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron on Wednesday filed a defamation lawsuit against American conservative commentator Candace Owens over the outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions she's pushed online.
Oh,
including
wow.
her
That's not
claim-
loaded. That's not loaded language, ABC. Jesus. Stefan points out, and this is true, I've seen this. The funny thing, there was a lawsuit in France about the Macron dick, and well, the people claiming the dick won it. That is something Owens can reference, and I'm almost certain she's going to, but it wasn't over the dick. It was over whether or not the claim was made in good faith or not. That's what they won on. It wasn't, oh, this proves she has a dick, right? It was... The problem here with Candace is they have now presented proof already to Candace Owens and the world, like relatives and stuff that she grew up with, DNA and blood tests, like physical exams, yearbook photos, photos of her as a young girl, and blood. They've actually presented these, and Candace doubled down after that, which I think is really what's going to be the problem here for her. Because at that point, I don't think you can claim good faith. You can claim you were misled, right? But that's tough after you've already doubled down after the fact. Like, how are you gonna?
I'm not
so
sure.
I think that's where the hang up is gonna be, honestly.
Not sure where she comes out ahead in this.
Yeah.
I will continue here. She had push online, including her claim that Brigitte was born a man. Owens, according to the complaint, use this false statement to promote her independent platform, gain notoriety, and make money.
Quick, Taryn, what's the French for where's the lie? Because that right there is completely factual. In fact, the way she's responded to this, the copium, dude, she's basically saying, thanks for the free advertising. It's like, Jesus.
You understand that the president of a country is suing you. Like, is she okay?
Right? The hell?
Ms. Owens' campaign of defamation was plainly designed to harass and cause pain to us, our families, and to garner attention and notoriety. We gave her every opportunity to back away from these claims, but she refused.
And they have something to support that, like we said, and you can look this up. They publicly released the photos of her as a kid and witness statements and sworn depositions from relatives that grew up with her as a girl, and on and on and on. So just, man, to double down after that, like, she's going to be so boned. I could see what she's going to do, though. Did I send you her Cope tweet afterward? I think I
did. Kamala, no, I do not have that.
It's all right. I'll bring that up. Yeah, it's right here, actually. But continue to read while I look for that.
It is on our earnest hope that this lawsuit will set the record straight and end this campaign of defamation once and for all.
Good luck with that. It's the internet, bro. They'll just triple down on the lie.
The complaint filed in Delaware Superior Court. She's in Delaware?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's about exactly.
Spans over 200 pages and includes 22 counts of defamation, false light, and defamation by implication. The Macrons are seeking damages, though.
Now, this is interesting, though. What are the damages is what I wonder. I've not seen anywhere. Does anybody in the audience or anything know what the monetary amount is? I combed like 20 plus articles and a physical newspaper. I could not find one that referenced the actual figure. Let me go ahead and bring up, because Candace is out in the fields picking copium about all this. The hashtag Becoming Brigitte series is now going viral in China. Well done, Emmanuel Macron. This is the spin that she's going with. Yeah, I'm being sued for what is likely millions of dollars that I don't have. But hey, in the very, very short term, I'm going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, of all the face saving strategies when facing a massive libel suit, you're all but guaranteed to lose. Like, thanks for the free advertising. Is this how you would handle this?
Not so much.
Yeah. Look, it's a larf to call her the first fella, especially after she hit her husband harder than a truck of peace in downtown Paris. But bro, not a damn thing about the monetary amount you're about to be ordered to pay is going to be free advertising, right? That's going to cost you a lot more than whatever you gain in the short term. This is just, I think it's just pride, maybe. We've seen this a number of times from Candace, where she gets called out on some bullshit and there's just never a moment of self-reflection. There's never an admission of fault. There's never an admission that she was wrong. Look at the Israel-Iran shit. I mean, gosh, what are we on day 32 of we're all going to die for Israel?
Was she one of the people who believed that the hospital in Israel had Star Destroyers hidden in the basement?
What?
You didn't see that?
What? I didn't see
There was a video going around of, oh, this hospital has jets hidden inside of the top floors, and in the basement they just zoom down to the 3D model representation of a Star Destroyer.
Right. I mean, to say nothing of the fact that, you know, in addition to whatever you're going to lose in the lawsuit, you attach the flaming rivulets of your credibility to an entire documentary series on this subject. So, like, how many assholes are likely to stop watching your shit entirely, which is going to result in your income cratering as a complete aside? Like, you and I make jokes about Brigitte having a hog, but much like Ian Carroll, all they are is a joke, right? Like, I don't get this strategy at all. I don't think it is a strategy. I think it's just pure pride. I don't think she's ever really had to admit that she's wrong. She's kind of like, wasn't she raised kind of a rich kid, kind of spoiled a little bit? And,
I actually don't know her background.
A little bit of an, yeah, I don't know. Either way, how hilarious is it that Candace Owens is about to lose to the French? Like,
that's quite a feat.
It's got to be a feat. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Let's see here. All right. We have so many here. My God, people. The Dirty Straw. I don't know what to make about Candace. I agree. I'm kind of like, we're kind of shitting on her here, but it's weird. Like, I've given replies on Candace. I remember when she first showed up and it was kind of bog standard baby's first conservatism. And I was like, whatever. She's harmless. It's not terribly insightful, but you know, whatever. Everybody needs a baby's first conservatism, right? There's nothing wrong with, I shit on Ben Shapiro for totally unrelated reasons, but he's baby's first conservatism, right? Charlie Kirk is kind of the same thing. Candace, my only main complaint with her was she was kind of vapid. Her kind of turn, I think, is related more to the fact that she, as a leftist, was an identitarian, which she was a self-described leftist less than a decade ago, right? So I think that's really what's happened. It's like her politics have changed from left to right, but her core philosophy, which is one of identitarianism, has not. She was a black identitarian, a black leftist identitarian, blaming whitey, and then she shifted to becoming, I don't know, ethno-nat identitarian, whatever she is now, whatever her husband is now, and she parrots, right? That thing. So it's kind of a weird, difficult to parse situation. Jesus. Speaking of identitarianism, Razör, will we get another stream of Fallen Aces? Also, listen to both Shadow audiobooks. Top-notch job. Candace will lose because all the best lawyers are of the small hat variety. I didn't even think about that. In our system, the judge and every lawyer in that courtroom will probably be one of the chosen people. She's kind of boned. And they are not fans. Yeah, most likely. I would love to stream Fallen Aces again. The last several times I've tried to play it, though, it's been very crashy, unfortunately. Really? Yeah. I think I need to just check the integrity of the files, do that whole rigmarole. But have you played through that game yet?
No. I've been too busy.
Yeah. Mario Trujillo. I remember someone telling me how to perform in a unionized theater, arenas, and other such venues. You pay union, the workers, and then the venue. It's worse for the workers. When I hear CM Punk bloviate about unionizing, it's like, I get that you have legitimate grievance, right? They say you're an independent contractor, but then if you work for the other company, you're blackballed and in violation of contract. That's not right? That's not an independent contractor. I get that. But you are going to screw every single professional wrestler if you unionize. You will be paid far less for a lot more work. Mr. Flynn, Candace has figured out a new crowd to rage bait. She'll shift audiences in another 5 years. See, in my video on the Iran-Israel situation, I pointed out, I think she mostly just kind of chases engagement. You know, people were kind of saying, she's paid. I don't think she's paid. I mean, she's kind of paid by her audience, but there's people who are easily herded by engagement. And this is a problem in the age of social media and mass botting, because you can literally hire a bot farm to herd a influencer in a particular direction. And I've seen it happen with so many freaking people. It's a neutralization op. It happened with the whole race IQ thing in like 2016. You remember all that bullshit in 2016, 17, 18, all of a sudden everybody was talking about race IQ, and like everybody who devoted their channel to just that either went away or stopped talking about it or whatever. They all got neutral. That's a neutralization op. I'm convinced that was directed by either an intelligence agency or something. It was botted. The people who kept talking about race IQ kept getting their tweets boosted and their videos algorithmically boosted. And then all those people went away when Biden got in office and right before Biden got in office. That's kind of what's happening. I don't know why I'm saying this, because I'll be kind of glad when all these people fall prey to the neutralization op, because I pretty much hate all of them. They kind of deserve to go away. I don't know why I'm trying to help assholes, but the John Beck, Candace is married to UK guys, so she's at least following the British tradition of making the French really. I didn't know he was from the UK. I don't know. I try not to get into the personal stuff if possible. Jake Stein, oh God, thank you for that one. Jaguar. Last week I listened to the first 2 Rat albums while taking a walk. Also, Metal Music Mythos for the band Extreme. I don't like Extreme at all. I never liked Extreme. I do, however, like Rat, and I would like to do a Metal Mythos on them. Yo, what's up? Bubba Doom, do Hulk Hogan reciting Tears in the Rain, brother. Listen up, dude. Now me and the rest of the Hulkamaniacs have seen things you wouldn't believe, brother. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched flying elbow drops off the Tannhauser Gate. All these moments, dude, will be lost in time. Like vitamins and milk in rain. Godspeed, Hulkster, and Godspeed, and thank you for that one. The right tackle, 3 Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain was Hulk's best film. Yes, it was. You ever see that one, dude?
No, I don't think I have.
I was so addicted to the 3 Ninjas films as a kid. They got me to take karate. I took karate as a kid because of freaking 3 Ninjas films. I beshit you not. Did you ever go through a karate phase as a kid?
No.
Never?
For me, it was bowling.
Bowling. Well, bowling is bitching, man. That's nothing to be ashamed of. I love bowling. Bowling is based. All right, sweet. Plague Rat, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. But we all know what you did on 9/11.
I've seen the pictures. I think I actually have it saved.
Juan Trujillo, Razör, former liberal here. F you, you were right. Well, Godspeed and welcome to the fold. Read that one.
Candace might be changing her last name to Owing. Yeah.
Godspeed. That deserves a 80s action one-liner. Are you ready for this one?
Oh, please.
You're a fucking dead man, Hatch, you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm fucking Jimmy Fingers. I'm a main fucking man. God made men.
Oops. My freaking camera changed. Hold on a sec. Not that I mind being in color, but well, what the hell? All right, there we go. Thank you. Godspeed, everyone. Seagal was so badass, he changed my camera. All right, let's see here. Ba-ba-dow. Three Ninjas Karate Generation represent. Godspeed. Bowling for soup. Sometimes, dude, I like a good soup, don't you? Carl Philip Gebler with the 50. Thank you very much. Have you heard of John Wright's Star Quest? I have heard of it. New pulp sci-fi. I thought it was up your alley. He's doing his own Star Wars setting with inspiration from his pulp favorites like The Shadow, The Gray Lensman, Lee Falk's The Phantom, and Lovecraft. Sounds cool. Everyone should check that out. I am always happy to signal boost some new pulp stuff. Call me Cordell. The claim about Macron's wife may be right, but Candace Owens is a grifter loser that used to be a Twitter SJW before she rebranded herself. Vox Day's wife, of all people, was one of the first to call her out. I remember that. Space Bunny Day. She pretty based herself. Shrunky. Hulk Hogan stole the show at the RNC just 1 year ago with incredible energy and vitality. It's sad that his death was so sudden, but also proves it's better to burn out than fade away. Can we talk about like that appearance at the RNC, dude? Oh. That was a legit big deal in the election. I don't know about you, but that was to me the moment at the RNC where it was like to the general public now. Oh, it's okay. It's okay to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
It's Hulk Hogan.
Because Hulk Hogan's the everyman. He's the representation of America.
That was not a minor thing. Like, that was a big deal, actually, at the RNC. And, dude, he nailed it. How amazing is that? We still have a super chat notification of Trump-a-mania is running wild and the Make America Great Again. Him ripping off the shirt and having the MAGA shirt underneath. Dude, what an incredible moment. I wish I had a clip of it. But, all right. G. Phaser. Hogan, Russo, Jarrett, and Bischoff are often seen as the prime suspects responsible for the mess at Bash at the Beach 2000. Your thoughts? There was a lawsuit, actually, between Hogan, Bischoff, and Russo. And Russo won. So what apparently happened, I mean, if Russo won, you have to kind of take Russo's word for it on that one. They had basically agreed to a worked shoot, and as part of the work shoot, they needed to work the boys. They needed them to be in the dark. So after, Hogan refused to do the job and dropped the title to Booker T, because that was what they wanted to do, he needed to leave. Or else, they would kick Russo's ass while he was cutting his little promo. Russo understood that. Bischoff understood that. Hogan understood that. But what happened is Russo cut one of the most scathing promos in history. You ever see that one, Taryn?
I think I did.
Like, as God is my witness, that big, bald son of a bitch will never be in a WCW ring again. Like, he buried him. It was one of the most based promos I've ever seen in my life. What apparently happened is it was such a good promo. The marks bought it, hook, line, and sinker. The dirt sheets the next day and all the media were talking about how Russo got one over on Hogan and how terrible does Hogan look. And it was all a work. It was all planned. It was all a storyline. But Hogan started to get worked into a shoot a little bit. Like, he started to get his feelings hurt. And so he winds up freaking suing Russo and WCW and whatever. But yeah, Russo wound up winning that, which Bischoff conveniently fails to mention on his terrible podcast. All right. Right. Oh, and by the way, Hulk Hogan and Russo, they mended fences a long time ago. When they worked together in TNA, the first day they were together, like, Russo made sure to take him aside and, hey, look, here's what happened. And I think the world of you, because Russo is a Hulk Hogan mark, like, straight up. He loves Hulk Hogan like any red-blooded American. So he had to make that right. And thank God he did. He passes from this world and they're actually on good terms. Raggedy Man, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Almost all my heroes are gone. This hits as hard as Ultimate Warrior for me, I have to say. And Roddy Piper. All right, let's see here. Patriarch Andrew Tucker Carlson reciting tears. I can't do a Tucker Carlson impression. Gigi Evan, Michael Bay is just an arsonist that Hollywood gave a camera. Pearl Harbor was just Titanic, but with 12 sinking ships and explosions. I saw Pearl Harbor in theaters, bro. I did indeed. And it was standing room only. People forget how big that crappy movie was. Michel Tourneau. I'm bewildered by the fact Hamas thinks they can make demands during the ceasefire talks. No wonder America ditched. Hamas don't have much in the way of leverage, although, as I think we're going to mention a little bit later, actually, I didn't add that story. Communist China kind of tipped their hand on Palestine. I've pointed out many, many times, however you feel about the Israel-Palestine conflict, Palestine has been a project of global communism for decades. Their ruling party, the PLO, is a Marxist-Leninist party. They are de facto a socialist nation, which is why they have the reflexive support of Communist China and the Comintern. That's their job, right? The biggest communist nation has to support all of the satellite communist nations and such. So China came out and made a statement. Their foreign minister made a statement that really was a little bit too much of a tip of the hat, or a little too much of tipping the hand, really, of what their strategy is in Israel and Palestine, trying to turn public opinion against Israel, which, to be fair, Israel's doing a pretty good job of that themselves. Don't get me wrong. But they're definitely jumping on that, and it's clear that's a strategy, and probably one that they're funding on social media. Speaking of scandals and international ones, speaking of the Ruskies, the other big news this week, Obama. Now, this is germane to our channel very much because I've made several videos on this topic that, man, I felt like I was shouting out into the void for years. I made a video called How Obama Obliterated Hillary, which did reasonably well, like in terms of a lot of people saw it. But, you know, in terms of the conversation, I feel like a lot of people still kind of memory hold just how corrupt the Obama administration was heading into the first Trump term. And just this week, perhaps to get the Epstein story out of the headlines, I mean, we have to be, you know, candorous in some way and actually admit that. It looks like Tulsi Gabbard is going to force the issue. She has now released a bunch of files and, well, shoot, Taryn, take it away. Tell us exactly what's going on with that story, Tulsi Gabbard and Obama. In fact, I think we might even do a little play-by-play on the video. I linked you to the video of her whole thing. It's like 10 minutes long.
Yep. Go ahead and bring up my screen.
Anyway.
Wrong one.
No, that's the right one.
Obama knew the Russiagate intelligence was manufactured. Finally, the world is catching up to everyone else. What? 4.5 years late? No. It's been 8 years.
Yep.
Should we play this first?
How much of an article is there underneath it? Because if we're going to play the video, then we should play the one from Twitter, not that one. Because the one from Twitter is complete. I want to do a complete play-by-play, like a riff track literally on it.
Okay, yeah. We should probably hear what Tulsi has to say then first.
Okay, then go ahead and bring that up. Full screener?
Yes, sir. Oh, hold on. I might be muted. Yeah, I am. There we go. And highest quality. Elon, you're never going to watch this, but please have a setting where we can just do this to the automatic, like, highest res, please.
Yep.
There we go.
All right.
House intelligence report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not
this is Obama now.
Preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back leaking held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence
Currently investigated by the
that
DOJ.
showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department.
Jesus.
They also had documents.
The way she phrased that.
Yep.
Is that bribery?
Yeah.
Or blackmail?
Little bribery with a side of blackmail. It's carrot and stick is what that is.
Hey, we know you've been meeting with these people. How about we grease the wheels a little bit? Like,
what do we said what do we said a million times, dude? They always accuse you of whatever they're guilty of. Always. The iron law of woke projection. They accused him of being in bed with Russia. It turned out Biden was up to his tits in Russia, right? So was Hunter, for crying out loud.
But
and of course in Ukraine.
Just, clarification. That is what she's saying, yes?
Yes. They were going to get sweetheart deals if they cooperated. And they were going to be penalized if they did not. It was bribery, cum blackmail. Little column A, little column B.
That showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness.
Dude, pause. What did we hear on election night? Remember election night 2016? Hillary did not speak. Remember?
Right.
What was the reported reason? Do you remember? She was moody. She had flown into a rage. She was inconsolable, and she may even have been shit-faced on election night. That was the rumor. And this is pretty much confirming that even foreign leaders already were aware of this. There's some other stuff that came out about what Obama privately confided. I'm not sure if she mentions it here, but we have an article after this to show all you guys. But go ahead.
Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create.
Can we stop for a moment? Like, what? The version of Hillary that came up with basket of deplorables and we saw he died and all those horrible, the cackling and what, that was the muted version of Hillary?
Yeah.
That was the tranquilizer version of Hillary. Just process that for a beat.
That was the drugged up version of her.
This is like finding out that Robin Williams was on Nembutal all the time or something. Like, what the? Anyways, continue.
Intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited.
Damn.
The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous.
Germane to recent videos on our channel, I opened up my McCarthy video talking about what agency, the OSS, right? The OSS is the precursor agency to a modern agency, and the OSS was infested with communists pretty much from the moment it was founded. Who is that agency today? That would be the CIA. You wanted to say something?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I wondered why you paused it.
No, I just I thought that was a good place to
Yeah.
I forget if I only watched this once. I forget where she brings up Obama, but
Yeah.
we can keep going.
Well, either way, we do have an article that's going to talk about that. So,
Okay. We'll go on just for maybe another minute because this is a 10-minute long video. So
The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the US election.
I've seen this clip.
On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency. The presidential daily brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama
Again,
DNI
pause.
Susan Rice.
Brennan, as I said before, currently under DOJ investigation. So Brennan is kind of in the process of being boned as we speak. So every time his name is mentioned here, you keep that in mind.
And others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request.
oh,
The House Intelligence Committee oversight report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the president.
Good grief.
there it is.
Good. Well, I always said Obama was a man of convictions, huh?
And they went, you remember, they went after Trump for that fucking phone call
The
to
phone
Ukraine,
call, that
saying,
dude.
look, I know you guys have got evidence. I want you to find it. And people, the DNC took that as, or put it out there as, oh, he's telling them to manufacture evidence. This is Obama
Yep.
giving orders to say, make shit up about Russia interfering in the election.
Yeah. In my how Obama obliterated Hillary video, I talked about how many people had resigned, had fallen on their sword in order to protect Obama. And it was a string of them, from Eric Holder to the IRS Lois Lerner to Janet Napolitano and on. And it's like, okay, what's the likelihood that all these people are corrupt? Now, what's the likelihood that the president above them, who has a history of being a corrupt asshat, is the corrupt asshat in the situation, and that they're all resigning to protect his political career? I think the latter's a little bit more probable than the former, personally. And now we have the confirmation. But I did a series of videos on this subject. It's just wild that this is very much a finger flip and chair spin moment. A little bit more. Play a little bit more, because I'm interested if she digs even more into Obama here.
Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community. The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence committee oversight report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met longstanding publication standards.
Wow.
Some of the information later used in the Obama ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was quote unquote unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's oversight report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment.
Holy
stating, quote,
shit!
we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected.
Like, there's literally FBI agents, senior FBI agents, who are just saying straight up, like, Brennan, this is bullshit. This is just like a political witch hunt. He's essentially saying what Trump is saying. It's a witch hunt. It's nothing but a witch hunt. And Brennan is overruling it. And if you've seen interviews with Brennan, like, you have to understand, if you look through his past, he was an ideologue long before Trump came along. Like, Brennan is not a guy who's out there to be, you think of the FBI as like, I don't know, law enforcement or something. No. This is an ideologue. This is a guy who has like a philosophy, an institutionalist philosophy behind what he does. And this is where you end. This is where you end up when you have people in these positions that are not focused on doing their jobs. They're focused on enacting an agenda and a philosophy. Ludicrous. Like, oh my goodness. And the guy's, again, he is under investigation right now. And I'd remind you, the media's constant refrain about Obama was that he had a, and I quote, scandal-free presidency. Obama himself actually mocked Trump on this fictitious front a while ago. Shoot, I think I have that article. Let me see if I can bring that up here real quick. Yeah, right here. Barack Obama takes jab at Donald Trump. I did not have scandals as president. I didn't have scandals, which seems like it shouldn't be something you bragged about, Obama joked. President Donald Trump's presidency has thus far been racked with scandalous allegations, but Obama later hedged his barb. But actually, if you look at the history of the, modern presidency, coming out of the, modern presidency without anybody going to jail is really good. It's a big deal. This is, not only is it something the media has habitually said, and Newsweek backs him up on this. There you see him in the first fella. Backs him up on this. This has been a constant refrain. This has been a chorus that they have repeated again and again and again. Just, I mean, it's been something that I've been pushing back on for years. I pushed back on it back when Obama was still president, and it was always ridiculous. But of course, there's a particular part of this report that I really, really want to call attention to. Let me see if I have it. I do. Because it was obliquely referenced. Declassified report. This is part of all this. In 2016, Obama found Hillary's health, and I quote, extraordinarily alarming. According to a buried House Intelligence Committee report just declassified by DNI Tulsi Gabbard, President Barack Obama and others reportedly had serious concerns about the health of 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Some of the information Russia had but did not reveal at the time. Commentator Charlie Kirk points out on X that in the final days of the 2016 campaign, Russia had, quote, huge amounts of potential anti-Clinton dirt that it sat on. This included, we heard that a moment ago, internal DNC communication that Obama and others found Hillary's health extraordinarily alarming. Internal claims that Hillary was on heavy tranquilizers and suffering intensified psycho-emotional problems. Evidence of severe health ailments like type 2 diabetes and ischemic heart disease. Jesus Christ. Just don't even Opie, what was your first clue? Was it the seizures, the collapses, or the spitting up green slime? Which do you think? I don't know. I kind of got the idea around the time she fell up a flight of 2 stairs. Anybody? No? Anyway, what about you, Taryn? You going to say a word for the first time in 20 minutes?
No, you're doing so well.
Oh God.
No, my favorite was, of course, everybody's favorite. Her being loaded into a van like
that was
a
the
slab of meat.
9/11. Yeah. The 9/11 memorial thing or whatever. What was the excuse there? They were like she had pneumonia or something.
Yeah, pneumonia, something or other.
I've had pneumonia several times. You ever have a seizure in the middle of pneumonia, buddy?
It's not common.
I've never lost a shoe in a bout of pneumonia. I'm just like throwing that out there straight up. But in a week of political comedy, this has to be the pièce de retardance. Did you see Trump confronting the Fed guy, Jerome Powell?
Oh, yeah.
To his face. Do you have it, bro?
Yes, 1 second here.
Tell me you've got it.
Oh, here it is. Yes.
We've got to see this.
Might want to make it a little bit smaller. There we go.
We're just going to watch the video. Yeah, just zoom down to the video.
Is video quality max. None of that auto shit. And here we go.
All right.
Billion went up a little bit or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Pulling out the actual receipts.
Pause it for a second. We do have to set the stage a little bit. There's a $3 billion construction project the Fed is in charge of. And it just had cost overruns. It's now 3.1, closing in on 3.2.
Yep. And
Trump went over and literally said on Truth Social as he was doing it, I'm heading on over to talk about why the Fed is, at 3.1 now on this construction project. He literally basically telegraphed that he was going to do this to Jerome Powell. So now, securing that knowledge, now start from the beginning so we can see this again. All right?
Yeah, apparently it started out as
fully apprised of the situation.
Went up.
It started out as 2.7, went up to 3.1, I think he says here.
Yeah.
Billion went up a little bit or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
At the Fed.
It just came out.
I noticed that at about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2. This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
I don't know.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added. Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work. So we're going to take a look.
Trump is right here.
He is absolutely right.
It's all part of the project. Yeah, it's
totally right. It's all part of the same complex. What the hell? I mean, do you stop counting because you move on to the next building? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. Expect to be finished in 2027.
His face.
We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not in.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, gosh.
Boom, boom, boom.
What? Bro, what did we do to deserve this president? There are times I just stand in stymied disbelief that we somehow memed this man in the White House. Twice we did it. Technically 3 times, but we'll drop that like an election lawsuit. What did we do to deserve it? It's like, this is, you couple that with him ambushing the president of Nigeria or whatever it was. You remember that?
Oh, that was so good.
He's getting expert at this. He's turning into like the Chris Hansen of confronting. It's like the political equivalent of, why don't you have a seat over there? You want some iced tea? You want some pizza? I absolutely love it. South Africa. Thank you very much.
South Africa. Yeah.
South Africa. Yes,
Oh, the
indeed.
genocides. That's right.
The genocides, of course. Oh, a poor horse abused by Chank. Rip Hulk Hogan. Indeed. Rip to a real American. The number one schmuck. Godspeed. Thank you, sir. Oh, this is another one. We didn't actually have this on the list, but this is interesting. The Wall Street Journal tried to pass off a gay Trump-ep fanfic, and it was one that was disproven some time ago. This is another lawsuit that someone's going to lose really badly. This is going to be brutal for the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal has been playing pretty fast and loose with the truth in the recent past, and this is probably a little bit overdue. They've made some pretty silly reports they're pretty far removed from their traditional kind of reputation of the sober and judicious conservative financial publication. Like Wall Street Journal's been kind of a political drama blog for a hot minute here.
Yeah, ever since the past decade? I wonder what's happened.
I wonder what happened then. I wonder.
Yeah. It's a secret to everyone.
Yep. Cesario hates seeing the trolls taking an out-of-context interview and one-frame screenshot from a WCW Nitro broadcast portraying Hogan as a racist. At least people are calling these folks out. Rip Hulkamania. Indeed. Hulk Hogan, of course, an innovator in talking about sushi farts in his sex tape. I don't think truly a pioneer in this field. It's a pretty small field, but Samsonite. They need to have the biggest and best of wrestling legends give speeches at a large service for the country to watch. The Hulkster deserves it. Problem is, a lot of them didn't like Hulk Hogan. That's the truth. Samsonite, what's your favorite Hogan interview tall tale? He was the best at delivering the grandpa tall tales. Man. He had all kinds of... Do you remember any offhand? I mean, I just mentioned the Metallica one.
Oh, God.
Metallica were so classy about it. They were like... They didn't want to embarrass him. It was obvious.
Of like just bullshit that didn't happen? No.
He was always doing that kind of stuff. Hulk Hogan's most outrageous lies. Hulk Hogan rejected dinner invitations from Madonna and Cher. Vince McMahon asked him to return to WWE after his TNA run. That I actually wouldn't doubt. Muhammad Ali considered him the greatest of all time. He had some pretty wild lies, I have to say. Pretty wild lies. Hulk Hogan faced Brock Lesnar in a shoot fight after his UFC run, he said. Does anybody believe that for a minute? He had some pretty crazy lies. But that's why you get baptized. That's why you surrender your life to Christ. And hopefully at the judgment seat, he was weighed properly. Jaguar Sage, I guess the big boss upstairs decided, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, African-American. Godspeed, Hulkster. Godspeed. Dustin the Grim, the Ghouls celebrating Hogan's death make me glad I'm done with modern wrestling. Got plenty of old stuff that blows the soulless crap of today out of the water. Rip Hulk Hogan. That's not hard to do, dude. We're overdue for watching some classic wrestling, are we not, Taryn?
Yeah, we haven't done it often enough.
I have a complete WWF pay-per-view collection.
Yeah.
So we got to watch like an old SummerSlam or something. You know what we need to watch? We need to watch the one where he fought Tiny Lister as Zeus. Remember that? SummerSlam?
Didn't we watch that one?
We did not. We did not. And Tiny Lister, by the way, may he rest in peace, the president from The Fifth Element, he said Hulk Hogan was so cool with him. Like Hulk Hogan he's an actor, right? He's a good athlete. Like he used to be a track star and stuff. He tried out for football. Like Tiny Lister, you could look at him and tell he was very athletic, but not a pro wrestler. He was an actor. And they had been in the movie No Holds Barred together. So the idea is his character from No Holds Barred challenged Hulk Hogan to a wrestling match. I don't know. I don't know how they explain it logically, but who cares? It was cool when you were 5 years old. And Hulk Hogan just walked him through as gently and as patiently as you could possibly do. And dude, it was one of the more memorable pay-per-view events of my childhood, I have to say. The most 62-22 as of today, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, has outlived every major feud he had. Godspeed to the legend $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Normal Man, did real American play as Hogan made his way to the pearly gates? One can hope. Cesario, the Iron Sheik, welcoming Hulk Hogan at the pearly gates with his first words upon returning, calling him a jabroni. Stephen Nizek. Rey Mysterio has sworn to travel to the Elysian Fields to recover Hulk Hogan from The Undertaker. Oh, that's a good lie. That's a good Hulk Hogan lie. Have you ever heard the Hulk Hogan Undertaker tombstone story?
No.
Hogan was just messing with the Undertaker. Undertaker had just debuted, and one of his first matches was beating Hulk Hogan clean for the world title, right? Because they really wanted to launch Undertaker. And so he was going to have to take a tombstone, and I think it was a tombstone pile driver onto a chair, right? And he's like, before the match, he's telling Undertaker, man, listen, brother, like, please don't hurt me. Like, just lay me down as gently as possible, dude. Don't worry about it, right? Like, I really need you to take care of me because I've had neck problems. I've had back problems, the whole 9 yards. And so Undertaker is, you know, he's just debuting, a lot of pressure here. He's like, okay, he barely sets him down. It's like being pile drive by a cloud. Like, he is that gentle with Hulk Hogan. And he hears Hulk Hogan as he goes down. Oh, you got me, brother. Oh, you got me. And Undertaker's like, he's thinking his career's over. Like, oh my God, I freaking spiked Hulk Hogan, the biggest name in professional wrestling. My career is going to be over, whatever. And he goes home and watches the tape, and Hogan's head is like this far from the chair. It's like he didn't go anywhere near it, dude. And anyone who watches the footage today can clearly see, like, Undertaker just gingerly drops him. Doesn't even it was just Hogan screwing with Undertaker. Just a blatant lie. So that might be a story, honestly. All right. Normal Man, I'd like to put Air Dance forward as one of my favorite Sabbath songs with Ozzy on vocals. Godspeed. Looking forward to Hulkster's biopic starring Pedro Pascal. You know, it's nice to see Pedro Pascal finally getting some work. Actually had a colonoscopy, and he was actually in the film.
Oh.
Justin the Grim, I hate to say it, but with the way he's been doing these days, I get the feeling Ric Flair may be joining Hogan soon. I can't believe Ric Flair survived Hulk Hogan.
I can't believe Jake the Snake survived Hulk Hogan.
True. I mean, Jake's been on like oxygen for the last several years and stuff. Like, I'm pretty surprised by that one. Agamemnon Fireman, I saw Sabbath live in 2016 and met Ozzy in 2023. Got a pic together. He told me to do a flip, which meant this. He signed my copies of Bark at the Moon, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Volume 4, Immeasurably Sad He's Gone. Rip. Rip to the legend, Ozzy Osbourne. The Azure Nightmare, no repeats. Do you guys think the Hulkster tried to suplex the crazy train? It was going off the rails, so it's true. Colin, great job on the Ozzy video. I vote we call people Sharon in place of the word that rhymes with punt. The thing you have to remember is Sharon gets blamed a lot of times for things that Ozzy did. That was something I did say in my video, and I think is important to say, because Ozzy wasn't even with Sharon when he first started screwing his bandmates out of royalties. He launched his solo career several years before he started even dating Sharon, let alone married her. So he screwed quite a few people out of royalties before that. That's the recurrent pattern. Sharon was just, I think, the bearer of bad news. There's a great story from Jake E. Lee about how he was fired. And he wasn't getting along with Ozzy. It wasn't like they were butting heads or anything, but they weren't connecting really. Like, they weren't best buds. And Ozzy wasn't really liking some of the stuff that he was writing. He wanted to go in a jazzier direction, like the Badlands stuff. And so, like, Sharon takes him out to dinner and they have the nicest dinner imaginable. He thinks they're just catching up. And then he leaves and he goes home and he hears from his guitar tech, man, I'm so sorry you got fired. And Jake E. Lee's like, what? I didn't get fired. I just went out to dinner with Sharon Osbourne. What are you talking about? So he rings up Sharon and he's like, I don't know how to ask this, but am I fired? And Sharon's like, yeah, I'm afraid you are. I got to be honest. I just like you so much. I wasn't able to do it. Like she took him out to dinner to fire him, but couldn't bring herself to do it because Jake E. Lee was so nice.
Oh my God.
So the image of Sharon Osbourne being this fire-breathing dragon and Ozzy being a really nice guy, it's like, sometimes not so much. Ozzy could be very insecure and bitter and vindictive, and sometimes Sharon has a nice side too. Like she got along really good with Jake E. Lee and Randy Rhoads, and there was apparently a little something with her and Randy Rhoads for a bit, which was kind of uncomfortable. But yeah. M. Garcia, don't even try to bullshit us, brother. HH. Hulk Hogan. Overkill. Rip Hulkster. This news hits like tropic thunder. I was frozen today with the word of his passing. What's that smell? All right. Draco, you played No More Tears, which is a great song. Sure, but let's be honest. Bark at the Moon is hands down objectively the best Ozzy song, which sadly Jake E. Lee did not get credit for, even though he clearly wrote it. Jake Downey, hello, Boomerfist. Hello yourself. Godspeed, my heroes. Panzer, good night, Hulkamaniacs and jabroni marks without a life that don't know it's a work when you work and work yourself into a shoot, marks. That was one of his tweets. You remember that one?
Yeah.
I love that one. Do you have any favorite Hulk Hogan tweets? The one with the Chihuahua?
That actually, the guy, the one before the one you just read, that was the one with the Chihuahua.
Was it?
Yeah, you can't bullshit us, brother.
Can't bullshit us, brother. Brandon Whitley, Chuck Mangione is gone. One less for the King of the Hill reboot. Dude, that show is cursed. Oops. Stephen Nizek, Terangel, Razorfist, and the Tactical Boomer audio. Tactical Homo might be joining us in a bit. He was going to get out around this time, so we'll see. I shot him over the link, but he wound up having to pull a double today, so he wasn't able to join us. I drink, therefore I am. As we speak, Keith Richards is experiencing the quickening. It's true. It's true. There can be only one. Prispither, we still have Clint Eastwood, though I fear he's soon to leave this mortal coil. He's in his 90s. I hope he's soon to leave this mortal coil. He's earned his reward. All right. Agamemnon, may I DM the pick? Yeah, go ahead. Ben Hamilton, first off, enjoy your banter on your show. Secondly, they happen in threes. First Theo, then Ozzy, now the Hulkster. Jesus, yeah, you forgot Julian Lefay, though. For us gamers, that's a big one. That is a big one. And one of the Gundam people. Did you see that one?
I think I saw one of those creators died.
Yeah, one of the big Gundam like model makers, I believe. One of those guys. He died. Penn, the mighty, Trump just passed an executive order to end vagrancy. You have experience in outreach. What's your take on what needs to happen to end the crap going on in Cali and blue cities? Man, that's all drugs. That's all drugs and fentanyl, especially fentanyl. I did a lot of homeless volunteer work in Haight-Ashbury, the Tenderloin district in San Francisco. I can't think of a city in America that has a worse homeless problem than San Francisco. It's hands down the worst in the nation. Even at that time, it was really bad because when I first went there, it was like 99, something that was horrific. Even then, put it this way, where we stayed, it was the Salvation Army had so many homeless people staying with them. They bought an entire high-rise hotel in the TL district and just filled it with homeless people. That was it. And it was kind of cool too, because you would go up and hang out with some of the homeless people and, whatever, try and minister to them. and they had not renovated the decor or anything. And this was a Victorian Edwardian era hotel. It was built in the late 19th century. So Victorian wallpaper, the big high, what would you call that? Like a conch shell kind of bathtub with the high back, like the Old West style bathtub with the shower curtain that goes around that you see in like the cartoons and stuff and old timey movies. And the fire escape was old timey, like 1800s style. It was so cool. It was
I wonder if that building is still around.
Yeah. So as far as what needs to be done, we have legalized drug consumption too much, I think, to roll it back. Honestly, I think that's honestly the issue. Plus China and fentanyl, they are funding the exportation. They're funding their party and their country through the exportation of fentanyl products. I talked about this in a recent rant about China. The components of fentanyl, mind you, because Trump added fentanyl to a list of banned substances. So China cannot export that, but they're happy to ship and trade, and they do, the fentanyl precursor chemicals, which is probably why, from 2023 to 2024, we went from apprehending like 5,000 Chinese nationals at the Arizona border, just the Arizona border with Mexico, to the very next year, 23,000. That's how big a jump. That's fentanyl. That's fentanyl right there. So until we crack down on that, which means border enforcement, mass deportations, and until we sack up and recognize that legalizing drugs has intensified cartel violence, that it's making our cities unlivable, that it's increased auto accidents, that it's a Pandora's box that we opened, and it was a mistake. Look what it did to Colorado. Look what it's doing to Texas and Arizona and all the other states that have flirted with it. Until that happens and those hard conversations are had, you can have your principles about not wanting to step on anybody's toe and live and let live and what somebody does in the privacy of their own home. It's like, yeah, but that spills out onto the streets. What is in the home spills out into the public square all the damn time. Look at that. Remember that episode we had with bath salts, where that was a big thing for a minute there? I remember there being a motorist here in like Scottsdale who was literally in the middle of the street, stopped traffic, pulled someone out of their vehicle, caused a massive pileup, ate the person's face off. Like, just ridiculousness. All of that, just utter ridiculousness. So, this is kind of where steady drug legalization and an increasingly permissive attitude towards drugs has gotten us. So that's really what that has to do with. I'm sorry I went off on such a jag there. Joshua Dillon, I love that two from Sleep Token got to play for the Ozman at his last show. He will remember that forever. A number of people, Lizzie Hale got to be a vocalist there, and I just love Jake getting to play there. Cicero, finally upgrading my NATO Steyr AUG with a much-needed bolt release. Waited forever. As I work with Austrian engineering, I learned that my Suburban Commando I loved watching as a kid went to heaven. Gosh, we need to watch Suburban Commando. Yeah. Big Mike, both Lemmy and Ozzy died exactly 17 days after the last concerts. Hellraisers to the end. Sad week for cultural icons. When it rains, it pours. I thought for sure Lemmy was going to die on stage. I really, really did. But you know what? He went out on his own terms. He did. Grundy Peebo, Rip, Prince of Darkness, and Rice-A-Roni Jabroni. Reaper Graham, is it odd to hope that Julian's passing will cause the people at Bethesda to have some introspection like, Julian wouldn't want this and improve? Well, fortunately, we do have the Wayward Realms all being worked on. But, Starfield is an overwhelmingly negative story. But one thing that I do appreciate about it is that probably Starfield, more than any modern Bethesda product, is one where they steered into their random generation roots with the planets and everything. And I know people shit on that because I don't think they did it very well. I don't think they're very experienced at it anymore. But Random generation is a part of Bethesda's design philosophy. Well done random generation needs to be in their games to some degree. It's how you get the scope of a game like Daggerfall with the feature set of a game like Daggerfall and hopefully a game like Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim and on and on and on, right? So I'm hoping that continues. That definitely was a little bit of a callback to their days of Arena and Daggerfall. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say it's what made Daggerfall's dungeons so interesting.
Yeah,
you never knew what you were going to get.
No two dungeons are the same. And of course, if you had the unpatched version of the game at launch, you could literally have a dungeon that was randomly generated in such a way that you could get stranded and there was no way to get out. Which I love. It was just like oh well, life sucks and then you die. Start the game over. The orb, Iron Sheik is doing cartwheels right now. Godspeed. All right, Reaper Grimm, at least we have the truly immortal moment of Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off at the RNC. Godspeed. The new guy, Chuck Mangione, is dead. I saw that. Autonomous Prime, my favorite Hulk Hogan movie is Mr. Nanny, where a random dude's chucking a dog into a river in the background for no reason. I love that. Reminds me of that Seagal movie, Out for Justice. All right, Mr. 5 Gold. I was frozen today. Hulk had that unique energy. He really did. He really, really did. Do you have a favorite promo or match? What is your favorite Hulk Hogan match?
Hogan match. God, it might be a tie between him and Andre.
At 3?
Yeah, and then the big one between him and Randy Savage. That one was so good.
Mega Powers Explode.
Yeah.
I go Warrior Hogan, I think.
All right.
And I don't like the finish, but I did like the build-up and the general vibe of Hogan Sting at Starrcade 97. I love that. It kind of fell apart at the end, but I love the match itself, and I love the storyline of that. Sting versus the NWO, dude. That is classic stuff. You know, Hogan, he gave us some of the best wrestling of our childhood and some of the best wrestling of our young adulthood and teenage years with the Hollywood Hogan incarnation of the character. Who's able to bottle lightning like that? Like, it was appropriate that he had lightning down the side of his tights because he really was a case of lightning striking twice. It's crazy he was able to reinvent himself like that. That is not easy to do. And of course, the killer, like Jimi Hendrix intro and the whole 9 yards. You like the classic red and black Hogan more or Hollywood?
I gotta say, I like Hollywood Hogan.
I love it too, because he was just a pig and slop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just enjoying being a shitbird. I love that. And that classic heel turn that just, but whose side is he on? And then he drops the leg on Macho Man. And dude, I've never seen so much garbage get thrown into a single ring in my life. That moment where I forget if it's Hogan or it's Scott Hall who gets just pegged with a beer halfway through the promo. Like, dude, that is heat. That is serious, serious heat. And Jason Cantrell has a great super chat like that. I defy you to tell me the Hogan heel turn wasn't the greatest heel turn of all time. It was great. That is up there, like all time. Maybe breaking the leg of Dusty Rhodes, you know. Scully Bones, what's the best Hogan movie and why is it No Holds Barred? Bubba Doom, I'm going to watch his guest appearance on the A-Team tonight. I'm glad he was saved. I hope the same for Piper and Macho Man. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, love your country. Godspeed. Godspeed. You want to continue reading some of these while I look up the next story? I think we have one more.
Certainly. Over here.
Actually, you know what? I am going to take a whiz real quick. If you could hold down the fort.
Certainly.
I'll be right back, folks.
And we do appreciate all of you guys sending in your condolences for Hulk Hogan and Ozzy and Julian Lefay and Chuck too. Let's see. I can't really bring these up, but let's see. Cesario hates seeing the trolls taking an out of context interview and a one-frame screenshot from an WCW Nitro broadcast portraying Hogan as a racist. At least people are calling these folks out. Rip Hulkamania. Hey, Hulkamania's forever. Samsonite, they need to have the biggest and best of wrestling legends give speeches at a large service for the country to watch. The Hulkster deserves it. I believe Razor read those already. They're just not gone yet. You read that one too. Read that one. Oh, here we go. The most, as of today, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase has outlived every major feud he had. Norm Al Man. I believe Razor read that one.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It didn't mute me this time. What the heck?
I don't know. Oh.
All right.
Let's see. The John Beck.
The next best after Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Pepper.
I had about 15 Dr. Peppers.
Another
Godspeed those of you who are hanging with us. We actually still have another couple of stories. So,
another big death that got overshadowed was Mother Teresa, overshadowed by Princess Diana.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. There was a fair amount of attention paid to Mother Teresa, though. I remember when she died. The other one was the day of the JFK assassination. Do you know who died?
Who?
C.S. Lewis.
Oh.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis's death, dude. Nobody talked about it because JFK died live on television.
I didn't even realize he had lived that long. The John Beck. I read yours. Agamemnon Fireman. The deaths this year have seriously given me flashbacks to 2009, June specifically, and the deaths between 2015 and 2016.
Michael Jackson, dude. What the heck?
Lots of sad ones.
Who else died in June of 2009 along with Michael Jackson?
I thought that was 2010. Am I misremembering?
No. Who was that?
I can't remember.
There was a number of people. Yeah. Farrah Fawcett, John Ritter. Yes. Thank you very much.
Iron Rider. Thoughts on the incoming film Spaceballs 2?
The search for more money. The little teaser thing looked kind of okay, but we'll see. I don't know. Mel Brooks is involved, but he's not involved. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of a defender of the cartoon. The cartoon was okay. It had its moments, but it was not as like gut-bustingly funny as the movie. So it was kind of shit on by a lot of people. All right, let's see here. Rethuglican, the people who are upset with Trump are either disingenuous or only pay attention to the sexy headlines. There's a lot of things that go underreported that have pretty pivotal victories. All right. Andrew, the stupid, frustrating thing about Hulk is his career and legacy was legendary. No need to soil it with easily disproven lies. All right, M2M2. If there's any game studio I love to support, it's Digital Eclipse. I love their interactive documentary video games like Atari 50 and Tetris Forever. The Dirty Straw, Michael Bay, greater than Snyder and Gunn combined. I mean, I love The Rock. I love Armageddon. Such dick cheese. So terrible, but I love it. Bad Boys. Didn't he do Bad Boys?
Michael Bay was Bad Boys. Yes, I think so.
Call Me. I love Bad Boys. These are great friggin' movies. Call Me Cordell. Razor, what's your opinion of the Batman Beyond series? The futuristic take from the early 2000s is funny in light of life now. I liked that show. I watched a lot of Batman Beyond back in the day. All right. Oh, there we go. Marushia Dark. Is there a reason I took the F-bombs out of my signature sign off? I always felt it gave them more power and punch. See, I completely disagree. Godspeed is punchier because it's shorter. It was always the original sign off, as I've said many, many times. And I always preferred it. And if you go back through my rants over the years, periodically I would end a video with just Godspeed all the time because it was always the catchphrase. Like it always was. Back when I did radio with Tactical Hobo, earliest stuff. And if you look at our earliest videos, it was always Godspeed. At some point, and I can't even identify the exact moment, the F word got thrown in the middle there. And it just kind of stuck. And I mean, granted, that's organic, that's cool, but periodically, perhaps out of spite, I would bring it back and just do Godspeed. So I was kind of looking for an opportunity to do that anyway. Coming back to Christ, too, I felt, a little convicted. Plus, it's kind of a personal challenge to myself, and has been, to have videos that are punchy and humorous without profanity. And I've made several recently. And I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to do that, right? Those have been some of my most complimented on videos. And it's kind of a personal challenge, to tell you the truth, because it's not easy to work clean for a lot of people, but I am aware that I can do that. I've done it on Crowder. I've done it on Sebastian Gorka's show, and on and on and on. It's something I pride myself on being able, because I have material, right? So it's kind of a combination of things, my faith and a personal challenge. And then the fact that I just prefer Godspeed, like I straight up do and always have. So I don't have anything against the other, but I've always preferred Godspeed personally, because I think it's way punchier and quicker. All right. Let's do one or two more, and then we're going to talk about Kamala.
Kamala?
You want to read that one?
Any chance of a Die Hard month, says Wonky Morris Crew.
Very much so. Yeah, I love Die Hard. What's your favorite one?
I have to admit, Live Free and Die Hard's pretty good. Of course, it's hard to beat the original.
2 is not my favorite. I love Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love that movie. That's my favorite, probably. All right, let's see here. Joel, favorite Ozzy song? Mine is Mr. Crowley for Randy's solos, honestly. Sad to see so many legends passing. My favorite Ozzy song. Man, that don't make me choose. I love Bark at the Moon. I love the song. My favorite Ozzy album is The Ultimate Sin. It's just stacked from beginning to end. I love the song Never. I love The Ultimate Sin. I love Lightning Strikes Again. I couldn't pick a favorite. I have so many favorite Ozzy tunes. I love Breaking All the Rules from No Rest for the Wicked, which is a very underrated album. Jeez. Waiting for Darkness from Bark at the Moon. You can tell Ozzy is a freaking legend when I cannot pick a song. I literally cannot pick a song. I'll pick one, though. Thank God for the Bomb from Ultimate Sin. I love that song. I love that freaking song. And it's kind of cool, too, because it was like in the middle of all the nuclear hysteria, he makes a song that lyrically is about the fact that we need nukes in order to prevent people from using nukes. Right? The lyric is, if that's the only thing that keeps the peace, then thank God for the bomb. It was a surprisingly based song for 1986 or 7 or whatever. But Ozzy was full of those kind of takes out of nowhere sometimes. McLeod, off topic, but ever watched the Ozman live before? Arguably the best frontman I've ever seen for any band. Dude was barely able to stand, but knew how to work a crowd. I got to see Ozzy on the reunion tour in the, how long did that last? Until like late 90s to early 2000s. I was like in junior high school or something.
Wow.
Like that whole Last Supper period. I got dragged there because I was not an Ozzy fan at the time. I was not into metal, but I'm glad to have had that experience. The only time when I was like really cognizant and able to appreciate it, though, that I saw Sabbath was Heaven and Hell. I got to see Heaven and Hell live with Ronnie James Dio, but obviously that's not Ozzy. So, all right. And one more. Shadow Fox, Ozzy's now the first rocker in history to have a farewell tour and mean it. Not true. Actually, Motorhead's last show was not a farewell show. So you're technically right, actually.
Not on purpose.
You want to bring up that we were just talking about the Russia hoax and Obama's culpability in it, the fact that he covered up intelligence showing it was a hoax. Let's hear from Kamala now on the Russia hoax, who decided to come out of the woodwork and shove her entire leg up to her thigh in her mouth. You have it?
Yes, sir. Russia. That's
Do
make
we
it
have
bigger.
to hear this voice again? I thought we were over
Please.
this.
Please let it be the last time.
Oh, dude, she's running for California governor. Mark my words.
Oh,
Mark my words.
why?
Oh, we have not heard the last of Kamala Kankles.
Let's back up and realize what happened. A historic adversary, Russia, trying to figure out how can I take away some of the strength of that place called the United States of America.
Yeah.
Well, one of the strengths that they've got, and it's intangible almost, you can't really touch it, but it's strong. When they walk in the room, it's their strength, is that they are a democracy. Imperfect though we may be, right? Flawed though we may be, it's part of our strength.
Yeah, you got
How can
elected
we
somehow.
nip at that?
Oh my
Well,
God,
one of
she's
the
wasted
greatest
again.
pillars of a democracy, especially ours, free and open elections. We are very proud of the fact we've not had any revolutions in recent history. It is through a peaceful transition of power through elections. Our election system, imperfect and flawed though it may be. So they decide to go at that. Well, let's get the American people going at each other to create division and a lack of confidence in this process. And they test out a bunch of subjects. And interestingly enough, the subject that gained the most amount of heat was race.
Oh my God.
And they had
That
people
freaking
going at
look!
each other.
And people wonder why she lost.
This is all in the, you read the reports and you will see that this is what happened. So, but the fact is Russia interfered.
Oh. Oh. Anyone else reading anything into the fact that the Democratic Party started hating Russia at the precise moment they took the hammer and sickle out of their flag? Like, if they were still communist, if Russia was still Soviet, they'd be slurping Putin's pee-pee gravy and asking for seconds. Don't you kid yourselves, assholes. Seriously. But did you catch that in the background, dude? The sign on the wall?
What?
The Des Moines Register. That is the self-same newspaper that during the election predicted Kamala would carry the state of Iowa by almost 4 points. Hold for laughter. Seriously. So this is the newspaper she decides to do the exclusive interview with. Huh. Interesting. There was a lot of speculation at the time that there had been some quid pro quo, that she was going to give them something and they were going to cook their poll for her to give her a better chance before Election Day, because that poll came out right before Election Day. Reading anything into that, Taryn? Any thoughts?
No, none at all. Absolutely not. Not suspicious, not nothing.
Yeah, lost by 7. Thank you. Thank you very much, Space Beast. Lost Iowa by 7. She was supposed to win by almost 4. Oh, but it's not all rosy in Trump town. I really want to call attention to this because when Trump fucks up, we have to point it out. We have to attempt to correct. Do you have that story about the H-1Bs? This brings my piss to a boil, bro.
Hey,
Trump
well,
considers changes to H-1B visa program. Go ahead and read that one. I am not on board with this bullshit.
alteration may include a potential weighted selection process for foreign applicants to replace lottery system. The often controversial H-1B visa foreign worker program may be getting updated under President Trump's Homeland Security Department. The program was meant to provide American firms more options to hire qualified workers including those from foreign countries. However, as WND has covered extensively, the H-1B system has been used countless times to replace Americans with less expensive immigrants.
No, file that under no shit, Sherlock. Yeah.
For example, while US-based Microsoft workers have faced multiple waves of layoffs, especially recently,
Yeah.
including a recent round targeting Xbox division, the company has already cut more than 10,000 employees across various divisions, including 6,000 in May alone and hundreds more in June.
Yep.
Between May and June, Microsoft laid off 2,300 employees in Washington alone, including 817 software engineers, according to official WARN Act filings.
Yeah.
But during the same period, Microsoft submitted 6,327 H-1B visa requests for software engineer roles, matching the same job titles and location as those affected by the layoffs.
We talked about this on the last episode of The Offensive. Yes, indeed, folks. So a weighted system, which basically sounds to me like there's going to be exceptions. That's all there is to it. Like, that's all I'm hearing here. What about you?
Yeah, no, that sounds exactly the way it sounds. Whatever happened to this gold card thing he was going to put into effect where it's like, hey, if a country pays $2 million, you can send somebody here or something.
Amnesty. Thank you very much, Botsors. Amnesty. Thank you. Amnesty by any other name. A weighted system. Bitch, I already advocate a weighted system. On one side is the weight, and on the other side is the catapult. It's a simple system. You fire them back into Mexico, everyone wins. It's fantastic. How about a waiting your fucking turn system, Trump? Fuck this. Is there any more?
Oh, yes. As reported at the National Pulse, Thursday, DHS filed a notice of a possible change in H-1B requirements with the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. According to the report, the proposal includes a weighted selection process for applications or applicants under the capped portion of the program. The filing, however, provides no further details as to how the new system would function. The statutory cap for H-1B visas is set at $85,000 per year.
Yep, indeed. So this is something that has recurrently popped up. He stepped in a little bit. How wild is it, too, that as bad as this sounds, Elon wanted it to be even more permissive? How crazy is that? This wasn't enough for Vivek and Elon. What did they want? Just blanket amnesty? Because you're right on the precipice of blanket amnesty with what we're hearing here, dude. This is horse shit.
This is literally... I can't believe Microsoft was so blatant with this, too. But it's literally, oh, we pay these white people too much.
Yep.
Get them out. Let's hire some Indians. They'll do the same job for peanuts. That's it.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
It's shameless.
And not only that, but H-1Bs, they're saying skilled labor here. There's a separate kind of visa for skilled Indian labor, and it's a far more exclusive club, right? That's not an H-1B visa. H-1B visa is the fry-a-later cook at Wendy's. H-1B visa is a janitor.
I believe
H-1B visa is a job that an American teenager could be doing as their first job. That's an H-1B visa.
I believe we brought this up during the last offensive as well, that from the list that I saw, a couple of those jobs were like strippers. They were bringing in strippers on an H-1B. Like, what the fuck?
Right. All right. Is there any more?
Oh, sure. I can finish the article if you want me to.
Yep. This is the part that galls me. Trump had previously argued H-1B visas were unfair to American workers because that was the case, saying in 2016, I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use it. We shouldn't have it. Where is that, Trump? What happened there? I'll tell you what probably happened is there's all those predictions of a recession by year's end, some kind of economic collapse by year's end. he's trying to soft landing this bullshit. There's probably some economic advisor pissing in his ear about how, oh, look at all this dire economic forecasts. You can't have that and this coincide at the same time. What do you want to bet, dude?
Yeah, it's got to be. He sees some sort of economic prediction and says, "Oh, we need cheap labor."
You can always tell when someone has worm-tongued into his ear because it's some bullshit like that. Sorry, my camera went out of focus for a second there. But yep, folks, let's get to the rest of these super chats. And my goodness, we are up over 2 hours. Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you, sir. All right, I already talked about that. Saying Wizard, Delaware has no cap on punitive and compensatory damages, I assume that means. All right. Andrew, in wrestling, you don't have health insurance, but if you're injured in the ring, it's known that WWE and AEW will pay for the surgery. TNA, better go start a GoFundMe. Very true. I remember what happened to Daphne, dude?
Scooby-Doo Daphne or
Daphne the wrestler.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She got horribly injured, and man, she wound up with all these crazy medical bills. She ultimately wound up killing herself. May she rest in peace. That was a very sad situation. Intrinsic Dark, Trump spent decades in real estate. How did Powell think he'd get something over him in construction costs? Can't make this shit up, dude. What is this?
I mean, you left me up, so I'm gonna
That's true.
This is your fault.
It is true. It's true. All right, Mercenary X. They threw her into that wagon like a sack of potatoes. He's talking about Hillary here. And worst of all, they sent out a body double while she was in that apartment being resurrected. That is true. I remember people catching that very obvious Hillary double. And I don't always agree. I'm not always in accord with the claims of this person having a body double and that person. That Hillary body double, I would put my hand on a stack of Bibles and swear to it. That was a body double. Didn't even look like her. You remember that, dude?
Yeah.
McLeod, 1991. This isn't Trump's first time showing government stupidity in construction. The Art of the Deal showed how he got a skating rink finished in 4 months when NYC failed for 6+ years. Holy buckets.
Oh, the city taking 6+ years to build something? Oh, I couldn't relate.
Yeah. All right.
Fucking hate that light rail piece of shit.
No.
Anyway.
I as do I. Dude, have you ever seen that light rail filled with people?
Never, not once. Not even when it's
stupid light rail system in Phoenix that just saps the public tax tit. No one rides, no one cares about. But there's enough libs in the state that don't have to live anywhere near it that they'll just keep voting for it over and over and over again because they never have to live with the consequences. And once a year, maybe they ride it downtown to go see a baseball game. You know what I mean? But it's a total money pit. All right. Pyrella, Ozzy came into a local radio station. Someone called in and asked him what Mr. Tinker Train was about. Ozzy gave some spiel about how he wanted everyone to have their own interpretation of his songs. LOL. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that lyrically. Mr. Tinker Train's a good song, though. Thank you, Killjin. That's awful. We already saw some of that, though. Sea Striker, Obama never had any scandals reported on. Good point. And keep in mind, we're not going to be able to get to everything here tonight, but we are streaming tomorrow night on Razor Fist Arcade, so we'll get to the rest of these.
Indeed we are.
And Commander Wolf, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, Ozzy J, and many others we lost this week. On an unrelated note, just saw they're making Aztec Batman versus Spaniards. What the fuck is DC smoking? Because I'm sure his Shadow or Phantom don't want any. I don't know what that stands for. But Godspeed. Thank you for that one. Sea Striker, thoughts on the new South Park mocking Trump after nothing at Biden for 4 years? Anti-woke people are just, that guy spits in my face less than the other guy. He must be one of us. I've never liked South Park. You guys know I reviewed a South Park game and spent the entire review shitting on South Park. I don't think it's funny. I don't think they're based. I think they're kind of clowns. I always did. So I kind of have a leg to stand on when I shit on South Park here. They're clowns. They always have been. I'll never forgive them for that illegal immigration episode that basically just turned opposing mass amnesty into a giant meme. Like anyone who opposes mass amnesty is they took our jobs. Hit guy. Fuck them. Fuck South Park.
It's typical low-hanging fruit bullshit.
That is 100%. Whatever's like in the news and low-hanging fruit for them, that's what they're going to talk about. The Azure Nightmare in a Ric Flair voice. Read what you want to read. Believe what you want to believe. But go to bed knowing that Christopher Lloyd outlived the Hulkster and he was frozen today. Oh shit, Doc is next, isn't he? I hope not. I hope not.
No.
Do you see Christopher Lloyd tweet out the Suburban Commando photo?
Yeah, I did see that.
Great. All right. The Holtonator, working on volume 2 of my short story anthology. Getting the first volume out in a wider scope is hard, but still working toward my dreams and goals. Thanks for the writing advice. It really helped. Godspeed. I hope it works out for you. I'm still working on volume 2 of my comic. The John Beck, Drew Carey agrees profanity comedy is easier. In his book, it's harder to be funny with the line, I had intercourse with your dog and defecated in your purse. You know, I actually think that's a funny line, personally. All right. Skyrim the Shrimp. Oh, Trump's bringing jobs back, all right, and giving them to legal immigrants. These people pretend that you can't just cut off all immigration. I want legal and illegal immigration stopped. I agree. I completely agree. Up until the Immigration Act of the 1960s, gosh, we had hardly any immigration between the 1920s and the 1960s. We used to you can just do things, folks. we used to just pause legal immigration for decades at a time. This is an option, folks. We can do this. Of course, the reason we won't is because our birth rates are in the shitter and they're replacing the native population. Proud to be a part of it.
Fuck off, we're full.
Yeah. Ultra Knight from an immigration firm. Brief explanation. Gold card wouldn't affect H-1Bs. Rather, that'd affect EB-5 and other investment visas. UAE does this. H-1B stuff is bad and permissive, in my opinion. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Thank you very much, Ultra Knight, for summarizing that for us. All right, there we go. Ultra Knight, H-1B is supposed to be for skilled workers. I've seen it being used for gas station workers as level 4. There are other ones like EB2 and E3 specifically for Australia. Thank you, sir, for the clarification. All right. DeBoggio, I'm sorry to hear that. I guess there's some drama going on with Vosh or something. What else is new? Apparently the sun rose this day in the East. Bar One Studios, years ago at a movie, some guys were wrecking the show, even got into the projection booth. Hulk Hogan stood up in the audience and went off with a rant so shocking the Gremlins restarted the film. I hope so. BMF 130, Hulk's death hurt today. 25 years ago, my older brother got me into wrestling by showing me Hulk and the Boys. So today reminded me how much I miss those memories. It really is. He's our childhood. He's our teen years. And then, I mean, he had his reality show and all the other stuff that he did. So he was a major pop culture figure well into our adult years. And let's just be blunt. Hulk Hogan is the face of professional wrestling. No one else comes close. No one comes close. At one time, you maybe could say Andre the Giant did, right? In his prime back in the day. But that was just rarefied air, man. All right. Metalhead Gangster, out of genuine curiosity, what's homeless volunteer work like? Man, it was one of the most impactful missions experiences in my life, to tell you the truth. It was all encompassing. It was, just ministering to people. We would hold like services for the homeless people in that hotel. And we worked with like an orphanage for homeless kids and stuff, or the orphans of homeless people. And then we did a Meals on Wheels program for people dying of AIDS who kind of were in danger of losing their homes. So they were given these like housing things. And then we would drive all around San Francisco and deliver meals to them. And it was crazy. Like, I got to see sides of San Francisco no one else who goes there gets to see. I got to see those old buildings and meet people who were not going to be around in a year or less. And they were appreciative to receive their meals. And those people will allow you more than anything to see the face of God. Even someone who, as a result of a sinful life, intravenous drug use or sodomy, is dying of AIDS, because those are the people who have to think about those existential questions that you and I don't. We have the luxury of never thinking about. You could really minister to those people, because I would argue they could really be repentant in those moments. It was really impactful. Plus, I did the standard soup kitchen thing. That was pretty good too in Haight-Ashbury. So, and I've done a little bit of it here in Phoenix, as has Tactical Hobo. He and I have done a lot of that volunteer work together. A lot of the Mexico stuff that I talk about, he was there the whole time. He was part of the same volunteer group that I was in. Scully Bones, Brutal Legend tomorrow, maybe? It's either that or a wrestling game, man.
I don't think anyone can stream Brutal Legend. Like, we would have to upload it without the audio.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. And who wants to stream a heavy metal video game without the heavy metal?
Exactly.
It's just, and it's stupid because it's the dictionary definition of fair use. Brutal Legend, the soundtrack is metal. The game itself is the main event, right? Fair use is, hey, it's associated with, but it's not the main event of. That falls under fair use, right? So it's the dictionary definition of fair use. But YouTube has been breaking the law for so long, and I mean blatantly breaking the law on fair use, so that they could get paid, so that they could get these companies paid, because they get better ad splits with major record companies than they do with individual YouTubers. So that they've been screwing over individual creators because they have better deals with Sony Records and the companies that file these spurious claims. So they're happy to uphold those spurious copyright claims. Just in case you were wondering what's going on with, now you can literally have 2 seconds of a song in a video that is all about criticizing the song, which is fair use, and still they'll take 100% of the ad revenue, all right? That's how that works. Big K Movies and Games, rip to a true legend, good old Chuck Mangione. The morning's here. M. Garcia, somebody asked if it was Trayvon Martin's birthday today. I said, no, it's Arm Day, brother. He changed.
Oh my God.
I wish that was a real tweet. Ah, there we are. A 5th death happened this week. Colbert's show. Da, da, da. We didn't even talk about Colbert getting boofed.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what's there to talk about, dude? It was dead before it was canceled. Let's be real.
What was the number they threw out? He was losing the company something like $24 million a year or something.
The guy was making a $15 million salary for a second place late night comedy show. They overpaid for him. That's it. He was a star when they paid for him because the Colbert Show was really successful at the time. Craig Ferguson was supposed to inherit that show. It was part of his contract. But Craig Ferguson, after beating Fallon for years, he was a little bit behind in the ratings. At the tail end of his show, he was a little bit behind in the ratings. So instead of wanting to put him up against Fallon and see if he could win again, because again, Ferguson kicked Fallon's ass for like a 5+ year period. There was no reason to believe that he wouldn't be able to beat Jimmy Fallon in late night. Instead of doing that, they saw the bright, shiny toy. They wanted Stephen Colbert. His contract was up, so they went around. They paid like $5 million extra to Craig Ferguson to get him out of his contract because it stipulated that he was going to be given the late show. And so, because they were parting ways with the, what is the name of the company? Worldwide Pants, the David Letterman production company. They had license to, go ahead and grab Colbert, and it wound up biting him in the ass. Does anybody doubt that Craig Ferguson wouldn't have been 1,000 times more entertaining in that role than Stephen Colbert. Come on. Come on. Could I post a link to the server or whatever? Feel free to, mods, go ahead and post a link to the Discord server. They usually do during our streams anyways. Futibi, the Obama thing is definitely jangling keys in our face to get us to stop paying attention to Epstein. But man, do these keys jangle nicely. Yeah, I think there's an element to that. I don't think it is a full-on distraction, so we forget about it, though. I think it's more so buying time because they already said the Epstein files are coming out. It's been ordered, right? So Pam Bondi, he already said, anything that you think you can share, share. So I assume what's going on right now is making the determination of what can be shared, what has to be redacted, because we understand there are innocent victims and people who were falsely accused in those files and on and on and on. We understand that. We also understand it was assembled by the Obama White House, by Eric Holder specifically, who wound up resigning in disgrace, as we said last week. So it's not like we're getting it from a credible source. So it is kind of important to determine what actually can be shared truthfully. I think that is important. So I think it's more so, I do think this is a distraction. I said that at the outset, but I think it's more so a buying time distraction. What about you, Taryn? What do you think? Why do you think they're suddenly talking about the Obama stuff?
I mean, it could be a distraction from the whole Epstein thing.
They did recommend prosecution now. This has now been handed off to the DOJ and FBI for prosecution. This isn't just, hey guys, remember Obama? No, it's, hey, by the way, we're going to nail your ass in court. So
let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Ask me again in a week. I want some papers to be filed. I want Obama sitting before Congress at least before I decide whether or not this was all a distraction.
Yep. Logan Darklighter, never forget and never let them forget. Gawker died before the Hulkster reached the pearly gates, but they will never see him again because they're going the other direction. That is for damn certain. That is for damn certain. When Hulk spoke at the RNC, I felt as though the America of my childhood, the 1980s, was back in force. That was another thing. Optically, it was just such a win. It was such a win, that Hulk Hogan speech at the RNC. It was great. Jake Downey, I looked at Macron's wife. That pic may be a valid defense for Candace Owens. She looks like my uncle in a wig. Yeah, she's definitely wearing a piece. That's for sure. MAGA's running wild around the world, even Japan. Now the Hulkster's dropping big legs in the clouds. Godspeed. Hail Razor, last week was my birthday, along with Brian May, one of the few rock legends still left. I couldn't super chat then because I was on a retreat for my denomination. It's kind of commie. Oh, a Methodist, huh? Best wishes and rip Ozzy. Godspeed. It's a shame how many denominations have fallen to the commie contagion. But I mean, look, when you've got Jesuits out there in the Roman Catholic Church who are communist, and that's supposed to be the thing that's resilient to communist infiltration, how on earth is a Protestant denomination going to stand bold against that? It's an unfortunate fact, but we need to push back against it. Sonic Boomers, honestly, it was both. All those people were corrupt and Obama was corrupt and they were protecting him. All right. Brandon Whitley, I don't know about y'all, but if anyone's thinking anyone meaningful will see the inside of the Stony Lonesome over this Obama thing or Epstein, I've got oceanfront property on Tatooine to sell you. Well, yeah. I love that meme, dude. I love that meme. Ghislaine Maxwell was a person of consequence. She was extremely connected, and she's in prison right now. That was another story we didn't talk about. She has reached out to the DOJ. Pam Bondi has apparently reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's legal representation, and it is official. Ghislaine Maxwell is going to cooperate, we can assume, with a list of names. I've been saying this entire time, for all these people spurging out about how the Epstein list isn't out and the Epstein list is in custody, guys. I said this on my channel. I said this on last week's stream, and people said I was coping. Who's coping now, bitch? We have an Epstein list. Its name is Ghislaine Maxwell. Blow it out your narrow ass. Jesus. So yeah, apparently they are now comparing notes. So that's what's going on. Folks, oh my goodness, there's so much support here tonight. You guys are crazy. We already talked about that one. Arc 5, my favorite thing about the Steele docs is them saying he paid 2 blondes to take a leak on Obama's old Ben and then didn't bang them, but just yelled, "I hate NWAS" into a mirror all night. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Skyrim the Shrimp, I've always said there's 3 king and a prince of music. Now that Ozzy's gone, there's only one. There's only one left. Hopefully we have George around a while longer since he's 73. Oh, interesting. Yes, sir. And we may have to call it there. It's like 2.5 hours, for crying out loud. You guys are amazing here tonight. RazörForce, you showed up in force for this stream. Tactical Hobo wasn't able to make it. I assume he is still working that double. But in the meantime, if you would like to hear the rest of this stuff, we're going to read the rest of them. Don't worry. They are still in our database. We are monitoring the situation. And until next time, for Terangel, I am RazörFist. Hulkamania is running wild, and Godspeed.
Godspeed.